Listen to the artists of today. Travel with them along their way through the Doris Hall James Indie Show. The Doris Hall James Indie Show. Oh.
Come on, mothers. Come on and look alive. Come on, sweet, sweet mothers. Hold your head up to the sky. Mother, mother, we love you. Mother, yes, we do. Mother, mother,
Sam, how are you?
All right, Doris, how you?
I'm doing just great, and I love that smile you have.
You know I love you, Doris. You always look wonderful to me, too.
I love you too. And, audience, this is Sam Peake. And Sam Peake is a saxophonist, and he's a recording artist and a performer. And he's played with such great artists like Patti LaBelle, Evelyn Champagne. It's just a list. You can go on and on and on. But tonight, Sam Peake is here in remembrance of Paula Jones. Paul was a great friend of his, and they went to school together. They did a lot of stuff together. Mm-hmm. So could you kind of briefly tell us some of the things that you and Paul did together and how long you knew him?
Well, me and Paul, we started off together.
Okay.
Back in the early 60s, along with Fat Larry.
Okay.
And other musicians such as Charles Reed, Billy Ross.
Charles Reed.
And we had a band called the Soul Agents.
Okay.
Which came from a band that was started by me and Fat Larry and Charles Reed when we moved up to Punchy neighborhood. And when we got to his neighborhood, we heard Paul sing or Punchy sing, and automatically he became part of the group.
Wasn't he great? It was great. He had a great voice.
Oh, he was
happy.
He made me happy.
Phenomenal voice.
I couldn't even play my saxophone when I heard him sing. It was just like all the brightness came out, He had an effect on me when he sang that no other singing. I didn't play from behind great singers, but he just brought happiness out in me, I don't know if it was because we was close friends or, we was coming up together, but he was a great talent.
And his legacy will go on forever. And whoever I talk to, they always have such great things to say about Punchy.
Yeah, but it's hard to say anything bad about him.
Right.
Because he was always a positive mode, even when he was a young man. And just to remind people, I'm younger than him. And he used to walk me home after rehearsal because my mother and father wouldn't let me go that far unless I had an escort going back home. But he, even as a young man, he had a positive outlook on life. And, we wanted to do something. Young kids always want to do something bad. But Punchy would always keep us straight. And, and that's how I remember him throughout the years. He was a very compassionate, and, he had great empathy, too. You could talk to him, and he feel what you're saying, and it's like he was part of it, And I learned to love Punchy throughout the years. He was my friend from one of my oldest friends from childhood to adulthood. Yeah, I'd known him, and we kept in touch with each other throughout the years.
And if you had like one thing to say about Punchy that you would want our audience tonight to always remember, what would it be?
Inspiration.
Inspiration.
Because, that's the problem with a lot today. We don't have people that are inspiring around us all the time. We always got people trying to do something crazy, but, you always got to have people around that's inspiring you to do the right thing and inspiring you to keep a good moral fiber in you. And, it's so good about Punchy. Punchy was a preacher. Yeah. Throughout the years, he became a minister of the Lord. And I think that was one of his greatest talents, because that's when we really started fellowshipping, and because I became a minister, he was a minister, and that's how the Lord led us, to a real tight relationship.
Okay. Well, Sam, I appreciate you coming in and talking about Punchy today, because, like I said, his legacy must be remembered. And I just want to say that after Fat Larry died, he was very inspirational to me. And everything that I did, he was there to support me. And I'll never forget that. So tonight, Paula is here, and Paula is going to talk about the legacy of her father. And we're going to bring her on now.
That's going to be wonderful.
That's wonderful.
Yeah,
Thank you, Sam.
yeah.
Okay. Bye-bye. Hello, Paula.
Hi, Miss Doris.
How are you?
I'm really good.
Well, you're just as pretty as your pictures are.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you look like your dad, too.
Yeah, I hear that a lot.
Well, I'm so excited to be here with you.
Yes.
And I just want to say thank you and congratulate you for coming on the DHJ Indie Show today in remembrance of your dad.
Yeah.
And because he left a legacy here that a lot of people don't even know about.
True.
And I want to thank you for that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, and then, when I met your dad, it was kind of further down the road when I met Larry.
Yeah.
But he was always there
Yeah.
and always there to support us.
Yeah.
Okay? Okay, so now we're going to talk to you a little bit, okay? When did you realize that you had a father that had such a great passion for music?
Oh, right when I was born.
Okay.
I remember him talking about when he held me. He was saying over me as growing up. He had a lot of influence in the R&B world. He was first in gospel. He would know every song on the radio.
Yeah.
And even growing up as a kid, grew up in the 80s, so a lot of sampling was going on with James Brown sampling. We were sampling stuff, and he was like, I know this song from this, and I knew the creators and all that. He would sing jingles. He would sing gospel songs. He would sing songs off the radio. He would, before we would go to bed, he would say, da 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 da, good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. And that was our alarm to let us know that it was time to go to bed. And we hated this song. We liked the song, but we hated the song because it was like, oh man, everything. In the Bible it talks about 24/7 worship, nonstop worship and prayer and everything. That's who he was. He was just constantly singing and beaming light out of the song. My dad had a strong baritone voice, and he was a belter. And I can respect that type of singing now, even though I'm a millennial. I'm an older millennial. I'm 42, but he educated us on music, on songs, on songwriting. Even I used to write songs with my dad and my sister, gospel songs. He would take us and he would say, the best songwriter is? Smokey Robinson.
Oh, my God. See? Oh, I love him. I'm sorry.
Smokey Robinson. And he was talking about the simplicity of writing and, how to write a song, how to write a bridge, how to
write the hook.
And it has to be simple. He was also great with educating others on how to be a good person at the same time use your gift. He was inspirational. He sung in many choirs, many groups, the Good Shepherds for 33 years. So many musical influence, and it's just everything was sung around him. I remember the best time about, him being in a car, and he drove a Cadillac, a brown Cadillac, and he had all these cassette tapes, and he would play, Michael Jackson for us because we love Michael Jackson, and he would tell the story about how he met Michael Jackson. I think at Suddy Hopkins.
Hobson,
Playboy Club. Yep, Hobson. And you know, everything was inspirational. Everything was educational with the music. Everything was leading to God. Everything was just. It's just he was a nonstop worshiper. You understand?
Right, yeah.
And at the same time, even if he sung a song that was secular, it still had a God sense on it, because it was out of his heart. It was who he was. So, the passion for music burned in him, and it burned in me too, and all of us, because that was his like weapon, a war. To overcome so many things and also help so many people and also help himself. So I can keep on going on and on about how musical he was. And I know it started from childhood in our family. So
he you know, that God gives us gifts.
yes,
And he had a phenomenal gift.
yes,
You know, his voice was spectacular.
yes,
You know, he was a good performer, and he did so much, and he wanted to do even more.
yes,
Okay? He was a great inspiration to many of us,
yes.
you know, and I want people to always know that and always be able to go to YouTube and listen to some of his material,
Yes.
you know, to go to Facebook and look at some of the things that he has done. And I want you to always be able to keep his legacy going.
I
And
will.
that takes a lot to do, okay? But you can do it
Thank you so
because
much
he's
for that.
worthy of that,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
Okay, now when we
Absolutely.
talk about your dad and all the things that he did, besides being a musical genius, how was he as a father?
My dad was the best.
He was good, right?
He was really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm trying not to get choked up, but
Oh, she can cry if she wants to.
you know, I kind of just tried to write everything down on my dad, but I could just kind of flow from who he was. But my father was a gentle.
So you're the oldest of
Um,
how many?
three. So
Three.
I have an older brother named Calvin.
Okay.
And then I'm the oldest girl,
Uh-huh.
and then a younger sister. But then my dad also had stepchildren,
Uh-huh.
Lanita and Quincy. And then he had a whole slew of other adopted children. So it was
Oh,
a whole,
Lord, he sounds like me.
Go ahead.
No, he sounds because I love kids, and I always have kids all around me all the time.
Yes.
You know?
He loved children. He had grandchildren, two grandsons, and one granddaughter named Leona that loved him to life. So, you know, he was fatherly to everyone.
Isn't that wonderful?
And
That's wonderful.
And it's a gift. And I still, you know, ponder how was he so consistent. But as a father, he was a gentle giant. He was always present. He was tender-hearted. He was empathetic. He was kind. He was integral. He was nurturing. He knew the word in and out. But he would give the word with sensitivity and like if he had correction for you, he did it in a gentle way. It wasn't harsh.
Okay.
He was encouraging. He was family oriented. He was extremely smart, like Mensa smart, intelligent, very intelligent, and he always had like an answer. When Jeopardy was on back then, he knew all the answers. I was like, Daddy, why don't you just go on Jeopardy? He was like, No, I'm good. I like just sitting back here. I play Jeopardy Hill. I was like, Dad, you could get some money. Come on. But you know, he was very intelligent, consistent in character, mature in the fruit of the spirit. He was peaceful. He was a safe place for a lot of people.
Okay.
Yeah, and he was just the greatest. He was just the greatest, and he was an open book. He was always honest with me and my sister about how he was when R&B world, and before Christ, and he was a good cook. He just was a protector. One of the things about fatherly, he fathered so many people, even across the street. There's a store across the street from us where he resided with me at the time, and they called them all daddy. Aww. And these were men in their 50s calling my father. He was like, no, that's my dad. That's my dad. And even when he passed, for his repast, they helped with the repast. They helped with everything. And they're now like trying to take me under their wing. I'm like, I'm y'all age.
Oh, Pepper, that's great.
But they protect him. So, I mean, he was a father, and he literally had a father's heart.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Like, really genuine. And he would apologize if he got something wrong. So, parents sometimes don't always apologize, but if he recognized his wrong, he would eventually come back and say, you know what, I was wrong from that. And he would learn from anyone. He was not high-minded. He was humble. Like his name, Paul, means humble, modest, and small. And he made it so small so other people can be big. That's who he was.
And when I listen to you, and some siblings I know, they don't say nice things about their parents. You know what I mean? They really don't.
Yeah.
They kind of condemn them instead of saying all the good things about their parents. They say, so maybe with this interview that we're doing, it'll give them some encouragement to say some good things about, and remember some good things that their parents did. Yeah. And when we pass away and we move on, we all want to leave some kind of legacy. We want to all do that. And they need to start thinking, what my dad or what my mom did, and and talk about it, so that we know a little bit that what's going on with them.
Absolutely.
So it's really great to hear about it. Now, Gilbert and I did an interview with Punchy when he was with the maybe 2-3 years ago, the Good Shepherds.
Yes.
How was that created?
Okay, so it was in New Thomas Baptist Church. Reverend DJ Lawrence actually is our family church. Now let me get this right. My great grandfather, William Hankinson, was the founder of New Thomas Baptist Church, and New Thomas was known for great singing, and our church were like Levites. They called us the Levites. We're worshipers, and so it came under the church. After he passed, we had different pastors, but Reverend Lawrence was the pastor over at New Thomas Baptist Church. During that time, the members of Good Shepherd were singing for the mass choir and male chorus. But at the time, the male chorus was older, and people were passing on, and so Reverend Lawrence wanted to continue to keep the legacy going with the a cappella singing and keeping that traditional gospel going. And he reached out to a couple of men, and my dad, my uncle, Clay, and Joe Watkins was part of that group, and to sing a cappella. And they end up sticking all together, and they end up, they could sing. I mean, the harmonies were really, really tight, but they came all together for the Good Shepherds. And I remember my dad saying that Pastor Lawrence said, I want you to be good shepherds of what you do.
Okay.
And that's how Good Shepherds started. And they started in a church, and they would go to senior facilities, and they thought they were going to uplift some people, but they got uplifted.
Okay.
They got uplifted, and a lot of the the seniors that were there were like encouraging them, and they came back encouraged. And they also believed in the motto of giving your flowers while you can smell them. So they would give flowers when they were singing to the mothers in the church and honor them, sing over them. It's kind of funny because now, there's a lot of prophetic singing and all that going on. And literally they would sing over them, and like how it talks about in Zephaniah, how God sings over us and rejoice over us. So they were doing it too, the older women in the church, the seniors, and honoring them. And so I watched them for years rehearse, do many things, go from senior facilities to conferences to block parties to rehearsing outside on Fridays. And that was a party night, but they were out there rehearsing and singing, and people would come out and hear them and get saved, get prayed for. I mean, it was 30, because my father passed last year, he served in the ministry for 33 years. So, and now it's the 34th year. But they did a lot.
Are they still singing?
They're still singing. They took a sabbatical for a minute. Just recently, I think this week, they started back up again. They needed some time. My dad was a major asset and major part of the group. And so, yeah, they started back up again.
Okay,
Yeah.
and that's the Good Shepherds.
Yes. that's the
So
Good
hopefully we'll be hearing some more about them
Shepherd. Yes.
in the very near future.
And I will be uploading some of their stuff on Remembering Paula Jones, a YouTube page, and I'll have some of his stuff on there so people can listen and hear
Okay.
his songs.
Now, Paula, do you or any of your two siblings, do they sing?
My younger sister sings. My older brother, no. My stepbrother, yes. I sing too. Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I could tell that. And that's great because
Yeah.
dad's gifts, you're getting dad's gifts.
Yes.
And that's really good, and you recognize that you're getting them. Some of these kids, they get gifts, they don't even know they have them. They never even use them. But
Yeah.
you understand that you have gifts.
Yeah.
And you can keep his legacy alive
Yes.
with your gifts.
Yes.
With you and your siblings.
Yes.
You can, like the good thing about the music today is, I don't really like the way it is, but
Right.
one good thing about it is that you're indie, you're independent.
Yes.
Okay? So you can come back, and some of the songs Dad has created or started, you and your brother and sister can put those songs out. And you can put them on YouTube,
Yes.
and Spotify. You can do all that stuff. Who cares if it sells? The
Right.
thing about it is keeping Paul Jones' legacy alive,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, it's all good things that you can do year after year to keep it going on.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And that's what I plan to do. I started, his YouTube page with some of his music is going to be on there. I'm uploading it now, creating the videos to it to make it more update. But the songs are still polished and powerful like it was now. And I can see it being revamped. That's one of my desires, is to kind of try to do some of his music again. Yeah, I would love to do that.
And Sam is always a plus,
Yes.
giving you direction and all the things that you need to make those tracks.
Okay.
He's a plus. You have
I would
Gilbert
love-
over there, Lomax, when he's in his right mind, and he's excellent on that board and in that studio, and he has his own radio station. So any songs that you sing and you create, he can play. So you can't lose.
Okay.
And you can keep everything going.
Yes.
Everything going. Copyright a lot of stuff that your dad has.
Yeah.
Get trademarked so people can't do tributes in his name and make money and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's a lot of things that you can do.
I would love to do that, and I would love to be.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm looking at Paul and not the camera. And go what's going on. Okay. But do you have any pros and cons about his career? I mean, did his career take anything away from you?
No,
Nothing, right?
nothing.
Okay.
It added.
It added. And it added how?
My dad had a way of knowing how to balance things. I don't
Okay.
know how,
Okay.
but he knew. He was gentle, but he had a mental toughness and wisdom at the same time, because God was his priority, family was his priority, but also music was his passion. And so his career was only to enforce us to be
Okay.
better. You know, it was never in the way ever. And actually, when I was born, I think he was singing with Inner Voice. That was a group with Daryl Childers, Stacey McGee.
Stacey McGee.
Yeah, Stacey McGee. I think Stacey McGee played with Genuine and Kendrick and so many different major people. And Stacey McGee, it was Alice Taylor, Stan Miller, and Stan Thinning. That was his last group, like in the 1980s, and actually that's some of the stuff that I'm loading on YouTube right now. He has a song called "Call Me to the Party."
Okay.
Come to the party.
Oh, that's the one that I got.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
and
the
we're
one.
going to be playing that on Philly Live Radio.
Okay.
Right, Gilbert?
Whatever you say.
Well, he he actually, when he met my mom, and he ended up leaving because he was becoming a father. He said, I'm going to stop this. The band life, road life is difficult, you know, traveling from place to place.
Yeah.
And now he was a father, and he committed. He stopped to become a father. And we kind of, like, you know, became his pride and joy, you know. So it did not take any, it didn't allow anything to take away.
Because sometimes I talk to siblings and they say, well, you know, his music was his life, you know, so he didn't have a lot of time to spend with us, take us to our sports games or whatever. And we understood, but, you know, lots of times he wasn't there.
Wow.
You know, he or she wasn't there.
Yeah.
But I'm really glad that, you know,
Yeah.
to hear that.
I'll comment on that, and it's unfortunate, and I'm still like, God, help me to be just 1/3 of who my dad was, please, Lord. But I think my dad had like great influences in his life, but God was his life.
Yeah.
Family, you know, was, you know, his heart, and music was his passion. So it was not. I think it was an even trade-off because he knew the priorities in it. And he learned how to balance it all. I don't know how, but he did.
Well, he sang gospel.
Right.
And
he
then,
did.
and he sang a little bit of R&B every now and then, right?
Yes.
Okay, so he went the gospel way in the end instead of R&B.
Yeah.
Is that right?
So, ask me that question again?
He went the gospel way
Yeah.
instead of R&B?
Right. So he
Okay.
ended up, like, after I was born, he ended up going back into the church, you know, and first of all, our family was pastors, preachers, deacons.
Okay.
I mean, he grew up with my great grandfather, Paul Hankerson. He was named after him. He was raised by his grandparents. And then later on, he ended up living with his mother and father, Beatrice and William Jones. But he was he was a deacon. He was in the church and he sung all the time. And then his father was William Hankerson. That was the pastor of the church. And he was like, he passed all the way to 96 years old. And he like raised the dead. And he was a jolly man and happy man and a loving man. And so was his birth father, and so
Okay.
was his grandfather. So he had that way of balancing things out.
Okay. Well, what do you want us to remember about your dad? What are some of the good things, the qualities? He was good all the way, but specific things. What do you want us to remember?
I will say this. Since he has passed, the hardest thing is to find people that make you feel good about yourself. My father was not just a good all around, but it was a God quality. And he had it with everyone. And I guess I was sheltered because I had him so much, and I knew that people loved him. But it's a feeling, and my father was an experience.
Well, we're going to remember Paul, and we're going to remember all the good things you said, and people can go back to the video, to your video, and they can listen to all the things that you've said about him, and they can share the video, and you're welcome to always come back and update us on on everything, and because now we're going to hold you to that.
Oh no, I'm gonna do it.
And come back and do some recording and all that, because the gifts that you have and your dad had, and some of these people out here, some of our younger generations, they have a lot of talent. Okay, they have a lot of talent, but sometimes they don't know how to use the talent, and they don't know what to do with the talent, and therefore it just sits.
And I wanted to add to what you said about what you want people to remember about my father.
Yeah.
I kind of got choked up, but he was an experience. A lot of, unfortunately, with his passing, and I also had a godmother named Mama Agri that was kind of similar. It was like a woman version of her, so I was really blessed to have that. But he was an experience. He was inspirational. He was kind. He was caring. He was all these things, but he backed so many people in music. It was not just Inner Voice. It was Fat Larry. It was Marie Scott Ensemble for years. It was Ordinary People. It was Choice Gospel Group, where it was a group of young men that he fathered and mentored, and the shepherds also helped them. It was his church, and he was also faithful in his church. He could have gone anywhere, but he was faithful to his church, the men choir, new psalmists. He was faithful in so many areas. And I think, remembering just also to be not the gift, but also remembering God and being a quality person and having that integrity and character. But my dad was an experience, and there's so many great things you can say about it, because I watched people when they talk about my dad and how people go like this. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Literally, it's an experience. You had to know him, and even if you didn't know him, when people watch their videos, they do this too. They light up because he had joy, unspeakable joy. So, I miss my dad and I love him.
Yeah, we can tell that. We understand.
Yeah.
Well, Gil, were you going to say something? Oh, okay. So one thing that I didn't ask you, and I want to ask you this here, what would you tell or say to the younger generation about getting into the music business? I mean, you learned from your dad, and you're currently doing some stuff now. What good advice could you give them?
Look for good people,
good.
Mentors. I know we are independent, and trust your discernment. Trust. Look for character. Look for big brothers and sisters that will support you, not be jealous of you. My father was not. He always encouraged other people to go for it. They give you that good feeling and knowing that will push you in the right direction, because no matter how old we get, we still need the right people around us.
Yes, you need people.
So I would say look for the right people, and and put God first. Put God first. Still serve your church ministry, and do what your gift is you're called to do.
Okay. Now, there's a lot of songwriters out there. They do gospel, they do R&B, they do jazz, they do everything. So will you be willing to listen to some music if they submit it to you that you may be interested in doing, the three of you guys,
Sure.
and to keep your legacy going? Would you be interested in that?
Sure.
You can listen to some music.
Sure.
Well, I want to thank you this evening for coming on the DHJ Indie Show. I want to really thank you.
so much.
I want to thank you. I want to say thank you to Sam Pete.
Thank you.
That's another support system we have over there that we must use.
Yes.
Okay. And I want to say thank you to my partner,
Yes.
Gilbert Lomax Jr.
Thank you.
Because together we are a team.
Yes.
And we can get this done and keep this legacy going. Is that
Thank
right?
you so much. I
Okay.
appreciate
And
it.
you out there, I want to say thank you. And you can go to YouTube and you can pull some of Punchy's music from YouTube. You can also subscribe to his channel.
Yes.
Okay, let's do this. Let's all stick together as a team and keep his legacy going. Well, I want to thank you this evening for coming on the DHJ Indie Show. I want to really thank you.
so much.
I want to thank you. I want to say thank you to Sam Pete.
Thank you.
That's another support system we have over there that we must use.
Yes.
Okay. And I want to say thank you to my partner,
Yes.
Gilbert Lomax Jr.
Thank you.
Because together we are a team.
Yes.
And we can get this done and keep this legacy going. Is that right?
Thank you so much.